Hello everyone, welcome to the course Geotechnical Engineering 2. So in this module number 2 and lecture number 4, we will be discussing on some more in situ tests that are there for soil exploration. Okay, so myself SSS Nitish, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Vignan Institute of Information Technology, Duvada. Okay, so let us now look at the course outline. So coming to the course outline, so initially we have started with the methods of soil exploration, and then we have tried to understand some of the tests that are plate load test or say static as well as dynamic cone penetration test, and then the geophysical methods. Okay, and then the geophysical methods along with some other tests that are vane shear test and pressure meter test. So finally, after coming to know about all these tests about soil exploration, we will try to understand more in detail how we prepare the soil investigation report. Okay, so we need to finally obtain the soil investigation report so that we can obtain any soil information for construction of any structure. So this is our preliminary and main aim of the soil exploration. Clear? Now, so coming to the previous lecture number 3, so we have discussed in general some of the tests that are present. Let us say the tests that are mentioned are the pressure test or the penetrometer test or the vane shear test or the plate load test as well as the geophysical methods. So these are the list of methods that we have or what we conduct in the in situ test. So we have discussed some of the tests earlier. So in today's lecture what we will be trying to do is that we will try to understand the standard penetration test what we have discussed in the previous class, and then we will try to understand the cone penetrometer test or the cone penetration test. So in this again we have discussed about the standard cone penetration test, which is simplified as the SCPT test. Okay, so in today's lecture we will be discussing more in detail about the dynamic cone penetration test as well. Okay, so these two tests will be covered once again in this particular lecture. Let us now look at the cone penetration test more in detail. Okay, now coming to the cone penetration test. So the cone penetration test is developed by this Dutch government. Okay, so and this particular type of soil mechanics laboratory what is present in Delft, they have just developed this particular type of test. So we will understand based on this particular experimentation what do we carry out, and there is another form of name for this also, that is the Dutch cone test in simplified form. So here we need to understand one more thing, that is it is conducted for both static as well as dynamic cases. That means this test can be performed either as a static case or as a dynamic case. Okay, we will look into it more in detail in the upcoming slides. Clear? Now, so if you look at this particular diagram, to the left hand side if you see the entire equipment setup is generally carried out in a truck sort of arrangement, and then we will move this truck to the required site location and we will try to penetrate the penetrometer, and we either perform it static or as dynamic case. Okay, so at the other end if you look at this case, when we insert this amount of penetration here, if you look at this setup here, that means the electropenetrometer is actually present here. Okay, it may be of certain depth and it contains some amount of geophones as well as inclinometer. So the purpose of geophone is to record the velocity along the particular region, and if you look at the incline meter, since we need to penetrate this thing in the soil, so we need to check whether it is aligned in the vertical direction or not. So this inclined meter will actually measure how much inclination is actually it is making while penetrating along the soil. Okay, so that is the purpose. So once we get all this, ultimately we need to determine the resistance of the particular equipment as well as the soil, and this can be done in two ways, as you can see in this particular diagram here. So it is either the skin friction resistance offered by the soil, and the other one is the end bearing resistance offered by this particular penetrometer. So these two have to be evaluated and we need to ultimately find the resistance of this particular soil. Okay, let us now understand more in detail, so that ultimately after finding out the resistance we need to understand the bearing capacity of this particular soil. Okay, so we will look at this more in detail now. So coming to the standard or the static cone penetration test. So if you look at the diagram in general, the apex angle that is present is 60 degrees and the diameter is here 35.7 mm in general. Okay, but if you look at the casing that is present along this particular depth of 100 mm, so it is generally 33 mm dia only. So this is how it is varies. So the casing is now attached to a cone sort of arrangement, so that is why this has got the name static cone penetration test. Clear? So now furthermore, what we will do, the cone that is there, that is has to be penetrated along the soil, so that is why it is penetrated by applying some sort of thrust. As in the previous case of standard penetration test, it is given by hammer blows, but in this cone penetration test, since it is static, it is not given by a driving force, it is given by some sort of thrust only, so that it just passes along the soil in a smooth manner. Okay, that is the only difference between the standard penetration test and static cone penetration test here. Okay, just keep this in mind. Now coming to the other part, after the cone is placed inside, we need to ultimately find out the resistance, as I have said. So we observe these resistance in the form of the cone resistance, and this can be determined only at a certain depth. Once it has been determined, then only we can remove the cone outside. Clear? Now apart from that, the other thing what we need to understand is that there are certain sort of threads here. If you look at the particular diagram, there are some sort of threads. Okay, and these are generally pushed along the cone, and these are combined, so that we need to obtain the combined resistance. Clear? We need to obtain the combined resistance because of the skin friction resistance offered by the soil, as well as the cone end resistance that is offered. Okay, so we need to obtain a combined resistance now. Apart from that, if you look at here, this is generally used for finding out, as I mentioned, the shearing resistance, or simply it can be said that it is a frictional resistance of the soil, and the other one is that it is the end bearing resistance, which is also known as the point resistance of the cone, So that is why, as I have listed here, it is used to find out the frictional resistance of the soil and the point resistance of the cone as well. Okay, so this is how it is done. So ultimately this is find out at a certain level, which is known as the core point. That means up to whatever level this cone is penetrated, that point where it is actually intersecting the soil is known as the cone point. Okay, at that cone point we have to measure the skin friction resistance of the soil as well as the end bearing resistance of the cone. Clear? Now furthermore, for any effective use of this, we need to carry out calibration, which is a must. Okay, and then the cone penetration test here depends upon the SPT value, which we have learnt in the standard penetration test. Whatever we are finding out, since this is also given by some thrust, that means we need to measure at different intervals, say 150 mm, 300 mm depths, we need to ultimately carry out the N value. Okay, so that is why this depends upon the N value. Clear? Now let us try to understand the dynamic cone penetration test now. So if you look at the diagram, this is also having a similar sort of arrangement where the entire cone along with this arrangement is driven down. Okay, so ultimately what we need to do is, since in the previous case, since in the static case we are just driving this through some thrust force, but in this case we are given some driving force. That means some external load is given, say some impact load of this hammer that is present. Okay, so the load through this impact load or this impact to the hammer is just given, so that what will happen, ultimately this will penetrate to a certain depth. Okay, now so if you look at the here, in this case the cone diameter is generally 50 mm in dia, but a small difference that is there. That means along this cone sort of arrangement there is a small gap, so that bentonite slurry can be actually passed through this, so that for the smooth movement of this cone. Okay, so when this bentonite slurry is used, then the cone diameter should be 65 mm. If the bentonite slurry is not used, then it should be of 50 mm. Okay, so that is how the variation is. Whenever bentonite slurry is there, we use 65 mm dia of this cone, and when bentonite slurry is not used, we use this type of 50 mm dia cones. Clear? Now apart from that, the cone is now driven with a number of blows using this hammer. Okay, if you look at the diagram, there is some hammer here, so using this the driving force is given to this particular type of equipment, and then it is driven to the soil. Okay, Okay, so whenever we are giving this amount of driving force here, so it depends on the number of blows given. So ultimately we need to record the number of blows at different intervals also. So I'm giving this driving force means, let us say I'm carrying out this experiment in case of a certain field where I have to construct a structure. So whenever I am digging, I'm clearly after every intervals of say 10 blows or 20 blows, or say 10 height, or sorry 10 centimeter height, or 15 centimeter height, or 30 centimeter height, I need to evaluate the n values. Okay, so these values have to be recorded correspondingly. Clear? Now furthermore, coming to the driving energy, since the hammer that is used is of a weight 65 kg as in case of standard penetration test, and the height that is there, it is generally 75 centimeter or 750 mm. So the height of fall of this hammer that is present is generally same as that of the standard penetration test, which is 75 centimeter height. Okay, and the weight of this particular hammer is 65 kg. Now, so the number of blows which are given might be varying depending upon the type of soil, but we need to perform or calculate the number of driven forces at every 10 centimeter interval in general. Clear? So that need to be carried out. So in general, let us try to understand more in detail about some other concept here in the same case. So the number of blows whenever given are required. Okay, the number of blows whenever given are required for every 30 centimeter penetration. Okay, and for every 30 centimeter penetration only, we will try to obtain the value as the dynamic cone resistance. For every 30 centimeter whatever we get, that is only given as the dynamic cone resistance. So it is represented by NCBR. And furthermore, this dynamic cone resistance has to be correlated to the SPT value, that is the N value. Okay, it should be correlated to the SPT value. Clear? Now furthermore, there is one last thing, that is in general whenever we use, there are different sized cones that we use, that is either 50 mm or 65 mm as I have stated. So whenever we are using, so the correlations what we do will generally differ. So if you look at these two diagrams here what I am given, okay, so in case of varying depths, say 3 centimeter, or sorry 3 meter, or 3 to 6 meter, or more than 6 meter, in case of 50 mm used cone, these are the following formulas that we use for correlation. And similarly, when 65 mm is used, these are some of the different correlations that we carry out. Okay, so these generally vary with the depth, say 3 meter, or 3 to 6 meter, or more than 6 meter. Clear? Now coming to the other part, till now we have discussed about the entire standard penetration test in the previous class, and then the cone penetration test. In that again, in today's lecture we have discussed the static cone penetration test and the dynamic cone penetration test. So here I have listed some of the assignment questions for your understanding. Just try to solve them so that you can clearly understand more in detail about this. Okay, because whenever you practice only you can clearly understand more. And coming to the upcoming lecture, so till now we have discussed some of the in situ test. In the upcoming lecture also we will try to understand more in detail about the plate load test that is present. We have discussed the static cone penetration test, and then the dynamic cone penetration test, as well as standard penetration test, and we are left with some other topics. In that we will be discussing this plate load test. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much. I hope you all have understood. Thank you.